This week on the Baseline Podcast, Josh and I are talking about, well, the MLB All-Star teams. We're going to be breaking down our starting AL and our starting NL, telling you why each guy should make it, what was the tough choices, and what were the easy choices. Then we're also going to talk about Thibodeau leaving the New York Knicks. Was it the right move by the New York Knicks, or was it just another lackluster move by the New York Knicks? All that and so much more coming up on the Baseline Podcast. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben. That's Josh, and we are alive and well in the heat of June. At least it's starting to get really stupid hot here in Hungary, which doesn't help when you live in the city because everything just becomes warmer because of all the concrete. But other than that, Josh, it's been kind of one of those, like, it's the weird transition time of sports. I feel like we go through this like every season. Obviously, the NBA is wrapping up here. We have, obviously, some spring football in a sense, with OTAs and stuff like that, but you also have baseball in full swing. So there's a lot of like changes happening. The NBA draft will be coming up before we know it, and all these different things. So we'll get into all that today. But Josh, I want to first know, how was your weekend? How's it going?
Yeah, let's see. So weekend off of work was nice. Got the opportunity to take care of some housekeeping things, some
There you
errands,
go.
got to watch some baseball, of course. This was the Yankees-Dodgers weekend, and that was a lot of back and forth. Of course, the Dodgers had that game where they exploded for 18 runs. So that was crazy. You know me, I could talk about baseball all the time. We had a lot of runs actually scored. Did you see the Nationals
Yeah,
made it through like 10 guys before the first out of their game against the
yeah.
Diamondbacks?
And the
And
the
then
the fans
uh,
cheered like it was a World Series.
And then Ellie De La Cruz had that cool moment, death of his
Yeah,
sister
that
just
was really,
recently, and he hit a
yeah,
home run like the day after it happened. So
yeah,
was immersed in some of those things, and it is hot over here. It's 87 degrees today
yeah.
as we
About the
speak.
same. Yeah. No, it's great. It's been a fun week. We had I got to start with this, Josh. Well, two things. First off, as we're recording this, obviously it's a day before my birthday, so I'm excited for that. It's my birthday's on Thursday, so it probably is already past when you're listening to this. But yeah, I turn ancient. No, I only turned 29. I'm not that old. I know I look like I'm 40, but that's besides the point. What I want to talk about this is, so obviously, all you know, I coach club football here, American football here in Hungary, and our team. Josh, you're gonna love this because if you guys been paying attention, you would have saw, hey, Ben's team won on the weekend by 1 point. Maybe I'd be thinking, hey, it must have been the team might have came back and gave it competitiveness for you guys. No, we started off great and then was chasing pretty much the whole game, right? So score is 21-14 Dio Saints. So this is a team that has this is the team that's like the Dodgers of our league. They basically just went and bought everyone, and it really just bothers all the other teams because it's just annoying and because the guys don't really care about a team. They're there to play. Um Anyways, they're up 21-14. They go down. We go down. We score 21-20. Right? We're getting ready to kick the extra point. We kick the extra point, but then they have, I believe, a roughing, or maybe like they touch the long snapper. And so our OC says, hey, let's go for two and try to get the lead. Of course, it doesn't work. So we're down 21-20. They go down to score. They're up. Then they go for two, get that. They're now up 29-20 with a minute 10 to go in the game. We're talking about a minute 10 to go in the game, right? And all of us offensive coaches put away our play sheets, our headsets. We just kind of like, all right, well, we'll just wing it here. We get the ball back on the kickoff, and our quarterback, who's got a cannon, he can throw it about 55, 60 yards in the air. So we knew, like, we just got to get it close. So the first play, he scrambles for like 25 yards, gets us to about the 50-yard line. We take a first shot, it gets knocked down, and we're like, okay, this is just going to be a tough one. So we stick in our DB, our safety, who has probably the best hands on the team and has never really played wide receiver in a game at all, ever. And we're like, dude, just run a fly. We just told him, just run a fly. So it's like the typical end of the game. They bring their receivers in, they bring their big dudes in, and he chucks this bad boy, our quarterback, about 52, 53 yards in the air. And I just see a bunch of people. I'm kind of like behind a couple people. I just see a bunch of people going up for the ball. And then I can see our safety come down with it and score a touchdown. I'm going, oh, so you say there's a chance, right? And then we go in, we kick the field goal. Now we're down 29-27. So we have to get the ball back, obviously. There's 32 seconds left in the game. We get ready to go for onside, and they had a different lineup, but they decided to call timeout because they wanted to see what we were going to do, and we were aiming to go to the right. Well, then as the timeout, they come out of the timeout. There's a center spot that's kind of like there's one dude, and the rest of them are kind of on each side because that's where we kind of have our guys. So our kicker kicks it, and by the way, the kicker is also the guy that just scored the touchdown. So this is kind of a full story moment here. He kicks it, it bounces off the guy's shin, and a guy who recovers it was a guy who missed two key sacks earlier in the game. He recovers the ball. So we get the ball back. And we're going, we have like one timeout. No, we have zero timeouts, I think, at this point. We might have one timeout. I think we might have, no, we do have zero. We have zero at this point. We get the ball at about the 48-yard line. So it's their 48-yard line. So we're going in. First play, we throw it back to the same DB that's in a playing receiver. He gets about a 10-yard gain. He gets out of bounds, stops the clock. Next play, incomplete. And I believe next play, there's some confusion. We get out of bounds, but we spike the ball just to make sure. So there's about 9 seconds left. We send out our kicker, which again is the guy who scored the touchdown and did the onside kick. And he kicks the ball through the uprights with 5 seconds remaining to go up 30-29. We end up winning the ball game, and I'm telling you, if I can find the clip and I can clip it, I might share it on the story because it is the most wild ending to a game I've ever been a part of. Coaching, playing, it was insanity. But anyways, long story short, we got that win. But now this upcoming week, my birthday weekend, the second team's gonna go play for a championship. My debut as a head coach as a championship game as a head coach, so I'm super excited for that. So. I know there's a lot of talking there, Josh, but I want to get your thoughts on that little there.
I'm just thinking about how many of these moments would just be like in a football movie, like pulling a guy
Mm.
that's never played wide receiver all season long and then catches this touchdown, and then a
Oh,
guy that's missed some plays on defense before that's coming up with like a key play. It's like this is just all stuff that like
oh,
script
we we
writers would
we
put
literally were all
together
saying, we were
for a
literally
football
saying
movie in
like
Hollywood.
we were saying like this felt like a movie. Like when we were done, like everyone's screaming and yelling, like
Yeah.
and it was the most amazing and also because this team is so like kind of hated in the league because they kind of bought a bunch of players that like loyalty doesn't really matter to them. And then like our guys were doing the whole like money chant, like which I thought was
Mm.
hilarious. The guys at the game were just like, you can't even buy a win. So there's a meme too where it says money can buy you all these players, but money can't buy you a Hail Mary defense, which I thought was glorious. But anyways,
Yeah.
it was wild.
Definitely a moment made for TV, but
Yes.
a finals matchup that everybody seems to be hating on because it's
It's
not
so
made for
boring.
TV
It
is
is
the Thunder
boring.
and the Pacers.
It's boring.
Right before we talk about anything that's happened with that though, isn't it weird that like people from the NBA media will root against stuff like this, and then when it happens, they just act like it's, not good for the league and it's going to hurt the ratings. It's like you guys are the ones broadcasting these games. Shouldn't you be hyping the fans up to see this matchup
It's
so that the
exactly what I
ratings
thought.
don't go down as far as like what they might? Like
That
because it's not a Boston LA series, it's Indy versus Oklahoma City, like two smaller NBA markets. Like this is a series
this
that
proves everything that you guys
yeah,
have been fighting for, which is saying that small markets can win. This proves
yeah.
everything you guys have been
They
fighting
can. There
for.
was a shoot. There was a matchup a few years ago too that they were saying the same thing with. Was it I think it
Toronto and
was
so
one.
on.
I thought it was one of the series that Denver was in.
Oh, it might have been because they saw talk about Denver's not a huge market. It's
Yeah,
just
or maybe it
a
was the one that Phoenix was in. I can't remember who the opponents
like it
were
doesn't guys, it doesn't
off the
have to
top of
be
my head,
LA
but
and New York every single time,
yeah,
guys. It really doesn't.
it almost never is either because
No.
those teams have been
It's so
bad
bad.
for the most part. But yeah, I just found that funny that that's always like a point of discussion, and it's like determines the fans uh or the fans determine whether or not they're going to watch it based
Well,
on if the TV people are going to make less money or not. It's like
and
this doesn't affect you in any way at all. If
no,
you're a basketball fan, that just means that less casuals are going to be invested in this, and then
exactly.
you and the other real basketball fans can be the ones
Well, it's
talking about
like it's like when Reggie Miller like called out all the fake New York Knicks fans, celebrity fans, like, "Oh, all you fakers out there," like, which I think is just funny, but I think goes along with what you just said. I think it makes so much sense. Like, I think about like look at TNT, right? Like we lose inside the NBA, right? It's going to go to ESPN. Like it's never going to be the same because now they're going to make it so different. It's like what's wrong with it when you have something good like keeping it that way. Like Oklahoma City, Indiana, it's good. It's good for basketball. Yes, it's boring in a sense because maybe not as flashy, but you're gonna have two teams who deserve something are finally going to get something. I think it's just yeah. Like and speaking of inside the NBA, I just like it's sad that it's going to be just like not the same because ESPN's going to ruin it just like they ruin everything else.
Right,
So,
right.
but it was so cool to see that. By the way,
Yeah, like personally to me, like Oklahoma City is a cool story in itself because it
oh, it's an
wasn't
awesome story.
it wasn't super long ago.
The
Maybe
triple
in basketball terms, it was a while ago, but they were at bottom of
2012.
the barrel of the league. They were trading away other superstars for first round picks,
Hmm.
basically just going full rebuild. And now they're the youngest team in the NBA. They still got so many first round picks until the year 2031 coming to them. I think the most in the league until the year 2031. On paper, you have the league MVP. You
Oh,
guys know how we feel about that, but it's just a cool story in Oklahoma
and yet the
City to
Cavs
see
can't
them
do it,
like
and
get
yet
to
the
this
Cavs can't
point.
do it,
Yeah.
which is just
Yeah, this is
frustrating.
a the Thunder haven't been here since what was it, 2012
2012
finals
was
when
with
they played
Harden,
Miami?
Durant, and Westbrook was
Harden,
there,
Durant,
and
Westbrook team,
Serge
yeah.
Ibaka.
Serge
And
Ibaka, Thabo Cephalosha,
yeah,
yeah.
well, the
Kendrick Perkins, I think, was
OGs.
on that team
Yeah,
too.
the OGs.
Yeah. So that's on the OKC side. Number one seed in the West. I don't think too many people would be surprised that they made to this point.
No,
But
no.
the Pacers is the team over here where it's like they don't really have a superstar you can point to. I guess it's Halliburton, but he's still like normal in the regular season by like good player standards. Then he seems to turn it up in the playoffs. Like he's just another animal in the playoffs. He, of course, I think he was the guy in the bubble that was going off against
Yeah,
the Heat and Jimmy Butler
yeah.
way back when in the COVID bubble. And I mean, still just seems to be that player that turns it up into extra gear in the playoffs. But surrounding him is guys like Neesmith and
Miles
Miles
Turner.
Turner, and it's like guys that you just be like, yeah, I mean, this is like a Pascal Siakam, like a solid squad, like what we thought with the Cavs, with everything that we had. Not a lot of like necessarily
So
tier
frustrating,
one
man.
talent, but
Cavs had such a route,
team
man.
play and
Oh,
togetherness. I know. We can.
gosh.
It's
The
still
one
frustrating
year,
that
man. The one
that
year they
series
could
went
have
the way it
ran it,
was.
man.
But yeah, the
Golly.
Pacers though are bringing about like that togetherness and team play, and I guess
It's
have
them
that
versus the
underdog
world. It
mentality.
was Indiana
Yeah,
versus the world. That's what it was.
exactly. Yeah. Uh, so that's our finals matchup, and today is
Yeah.
Wednesday when we're recording. So tomorrow, Thursday, this episode will be out by then. Is Game One, kicking it off at OKC. Um, So that's kind of like I guess how I see this, how I would lay it out, what I'm I guess looking at and
Yeah.
interested in. Anything else about
I
the matchup that
I'm just
particularly
interested to
excites
see.
yours?
I guess my thing is like I think if Indiana was able to do what they did against the Cavs, I think they have a very good shot at beating the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, if you look at the Cavs and the Thunder, they're pretty much an identical style of team to each other, right? Thunder, big dudes up front with a very good guard. Look at the Cavs. What are they? Big up front with a really good guard, right? Like with some good wing players. It's the kind of same thing. If you're Indiana, you're sitting here going, "Oh yes, thank you." Because I think if you're facing a different team, maybe Indiana doesn't have that matchup. But I look, they've already beat the team that had the second most wins in the NBA and a team that ran through the East this year. I don't see
Mhm.
why they can't beat OKC. Now, I think the difference between OKC and Cleveland is OKC seems to have a little more. One, they're healthy. You know, the Cavs weren't healthy. I still believe if the Cavs were completely healthy, I think they win that series. I've always said that. And I think they're healthy, but also I think Gildas Alexander is just playing at a different level, and I think it's going to be real hard to see what they're going to do. But at the end of the day, I'm interested to see what happens. My money right now, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would say I really have my heart set. I think it's going to be OKC in six. I think we're going to go 6 games. I think 6 games either way, but I think OKC. I think as it stretches out, I think Gildas Alexander. I think a lot of these Chet Holmgren. I think a lot of these guys are really going to start pulling that. I just don't think Indiana can do it again. I just really struggle seeing them doing it once again to beat a team this caliber.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess on one hand, we know experience in the playoffs matters, and OKC being as young as they are doesn't necessarily have a lot of that, but the Pacers also aren't like this year in, year out contender that has that much playoff or
No,
even
yeah.
finals experience themselves either. And they've been having to come from behind a lot. We know how many leads the
Hmm.
Cavs blew against
Oh my
them.
goodness, don't you?
Uh,
Oh.
at least those first few games, the Knicks. The first game went to overtime. The second game was decided by 5 points. Quarter by quarter scoring was pretty close there. But near the end, they started to, I mean, the last game was 125-108. They started to, I guess, pull away and put together
Yeah.
some of these bigger wins. But I mean, you said if they can do against what they did against the Cavs, I mean, even what they did against the Knicks was impressive. I mean, the Knicks aren't necessarily a bad team either. Thought in the regular season the Knicks didn't do too well against like some of the other better teams in the East, but I mean, to get to the Eastern Conference Finals is still a testament to the
I
team
mean,
that they are.
I just love seeing
But
Stephen A. sad, so that just makes me happy.
and Stephen A. said, yeah. Uh, so yeah, the Pacers I would guess are coming in here as the underdog. Not a lot of people are necessarily picking them, but they've had the harder path to get here. And then I guess as a basketball fan, you got to say, can they do it one more time? And if you're OKC, it's like, will the youth be able to handle the moment? I guess,
Yeah.
but we'll find out.
Mm.
Uh, Aftermath, fun story in the aftermath of the Eastern Conference Finals too that I think took the world by surprise was the Knicks parted ways with Tom Thibodeau. Goodbye, Tibbs, I
But
guess. Even though he's
why?
been bringing the Knicks, further along in the playoffs every single year, they've been getting better. From what I hear from the Knicks fan base, the players like him, so it's not even like a players and coaches butting
I
heads situation necessarily. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't
I'm
get that one. I
I'm
don't get how
so
the NBA goes
confused.
about coaching hires and firings
But my
ever.
question is that's like the Cavs should have said, okay, Atkinson, you got a 60 wins, but you didn't do what you're supposed to, which was win the finals. Like, look, if that's the measure you're measuring every coach, then every coach should be fired after every year, except the one that wins it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, of course,
uh,
Atkinson's in year one, and Thibodeau, I don't know how
he
many
was
years
five
he's
year. I
been
think it was
there,
five
but
or six, I believe, something like
but he's
that.
been in, yeah. But we've seen
But
the
it's
the team
improving.
progress as they've
Like,
gotten, yeah, they've been adding talent to the roster. They've gotten some good draft
oh my
picks, like Jalen.
goodness.
Well, they've been getting some good draft picks to come in, and you make the trade for Karl Anthony Towns, and you get a little bit further along. But yeah, I don't get it, man.
And
But
like I don't even think they gave a reason. Like what? Because he didn't beat the OKC and the Cavs in the regular season. Like I'm just
yeah, I don't
I,
even know how you can say it. This is like the Knicks reaching their ceiling because there's still been a trail of progression. It's not like they're running into the Eastern Conference Finals the last
dude,
3 years and the season ends
this is
there
what
every
New York
time.
does to you, man. This is what New York does to you. Like I just think it like, dude. This is why I believe. Obviously the Yankees were good for so long, but I truly believe like these big market teams, like we haven't seen big market teams like truly dominate sports, and I think this is the reason why. There's so much pressure. The pressure is so hard. Like you have to be perfect. You have to be almost like within an inch of perfection. And I think there, maybe it was management, ownership that was like, hey, we could have made the finals. Like, yeah, you could have. So could the Cavs. So could a lot of these other teams. But like you got to the Eastern Conference Finals, you were a couple games away from making the finals. Like I would love for them to come out and say what the reasoning was. I mean, if this is the case, then the Suns are going to look like angels the way they deal with the coaching hires. I just yeah, I'm very interested to see what transpires here. Like I think someone's going to pick up Tibbs though. I think someone's going to pick him up quick. I mean, what he did and what he did with the Knicks, like I wouldn't
Hmm.
be shocked. Some of these teams that are maybe on the fringe, like I personally I think he would have fit great in San Antonio if they wouldn't have hired someone after Popovich stepped down, right? Like or those kind of places that need that extra boost. I think would have been great.
Yeah. Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know who's looking for a coach. I mean, the Suns just hired Ott, one of the assistants from the Cavs. I don't know if the Nuggets are going to stick it out with their interim coach because Malone, we know, got
Oh, he
fired.
would
And
fit great, I think, over there too.
the thing with Tibbs, it seems like his reputation is always to play the starters long and hard.
Yeah.
That was something that bothered Jimmy Butler, I know, when he's played for him on a few of his teams. And then that's why a guy like Kenny Smith had that joke where it's like, even if Tibbs was managing a baseball team, he wouldn't play nine guys. It's like that's
Yeah.
pretty good. That's pretty good right there. But yeah, maybe the Nuggets can be a place that he could fit into. But yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing who the Knicks also decide to go with too. That could be better. Maybe former Denver Nuggets coach Mike Malone, and it's just a straight up swap somehow.
That would be ironic, but also not surprising because the Knicks.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, interesting, interesting, interesting.
We also have a Stanley Cup matchup that kicks off tonight. It's the Florida Panthers versus the Edmonton Oilers. Found a fun stat, Ben, before the show.
Oh, did you?
Edmonton Oilers are I think it was the eighth team to lose their first two games of the Stanley Cup playoffs and then reach the Stanley Cup. Now, all the teams that did it before them went on to be the Stanley Cup champions. So, if that's one of the wildest stats I've seen, and could this finally be the year that a Canadian team puts together and ends the 30 plus year, almost 40-year streak of not bringing a cup to Canada?
I'm struggling to Canada. It's Canada, so I yeah. I we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The
We'll
it's
see.
it's just fun too to like think of, okay, Canada, they got the Hockey Hall of Fame there, they got all these teams, it's cold there, they got opportunity to play year round there
Yeah,
like
they
most of
just
the year. And
can't.
then in the United States, it's like here's Florida Panthers from Fort Lauderdale, I
Here's
believe is where they're
Dallas.
based at. It's
Here's
like 100
LA.
degrees there right now probably. And yeah, we got a good hockey team down here too. Where do we play? We'll never tell. But where can we find ice to play on over here? But anyway, yeah, that's the matchup going on over there. But with MLB All-Star game coming up in July. It's a little over a month from now. We're getting to that point now. We're 2 months into the season where players are starting to settle in. We've talked a lot about some of the exciting stuff happening in baseball. We talked not too long ago about some of the younger talent with the 23U teams, but figured now it's about time that we go ahead and discuss our MLB All-Star teams from the American League and
Uh,
National League, like just
Red
some
Red
early
should
picks right
Reds
now.
don't Reds don't deserve to be on the team. So, but I'll put one on there. But I don't think they deserve to be on the
Gonna
team.
say
So
I did not have a Cincinnati Red on my roster at
it's
least, but
ridiculous. So I just for everyone to know, we're not going to do backups because that just becomes chaotic.
just the
Just
starters.
starters, the starting pitcher and the starters. It's just too
Yeah, we got
chaotic.
we got 9 guys on the American League. Well, 10 guys because we got a DH too. Ten
Yeah.
guys on the American League, 10 guys on the National League that we're going over. And
Let's
personally
start.
for me,
Let's start
Ben,
position players. I think let's do position players first. We'll finish with the pitcher last. I
sure.
think that's kind of fun.
I'll just preface. I'll go with American League first.
Okay.
For me, picking second base, center field, and first base, I felt was the hardest, but everything else I thought was pretty straightforward and easy. We'll see how that lines up, I guess, with your roster. But
Yeah.
starting off, position players in the American League, I'll just work from
Catcher.
yeah, let's just start there, like right there from number
Yeah.
two in the infield, I guess, all around. So I think if you're not going with Kyle Raleigh at catcher, there's something wrong with you. This guy's got platinum glove potential behind the plate. He's also on pace to hit over 60 home runs this year. Big Dumper is just a perfect nickname for this guy when you watch him play. And yeah, as it stands right now, he's tied for the entire MLB lead in home runs. Also has 45 ribbies, tied for seventh, 999 OPS, fourth best in the bigs as well. Pretty easy decision there for me, going Cal at catcher.
Well, I'm gonna go Salvador. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. The only other person I considered for this was Alejandro Kirk. I mean, he has really good numbers. He's hitting almost
Yeah.
300. He's like, OPS is like almost 800. So like, he's a guy I could put here. I just think when you're only a catcher and you've only hit 3 home runs in like 2 months. For me, a catcher needs to be like a guy who hits like 15 to 25 homers a game, or sorry, a year. Like I just
It's like a
think,
game. Okay.
yeah, a year because I feel like with a catcher, like I never understood like everyone in the Reds loved Tucker Barnhart, but the dude hit like 2 home runs a year. Yeah, he was a Gold Glover, but like when he came out to bat, I'm just like, well, he'll hit a single. That's just like what he does. But yeah, I'm gonna go
Hmm.
Cal Raleigh. A guy who's already hit 23 homers. He could have close to 50 by the end of the year, which means I don't know the last time a catcher's hit. I don't even know if a catcher's even gotten close to 50. I know Johnny Bench got in the 30s. I think maybe got close to 40. Um,
I would imagine it would have to have been a guy like Mike Piazza or Pudge Rodriguez,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So a guy with some
Like a
pop.
guy with that
Yeah,
much power behind
yeah.
the plate. I'm
But
having
yeah,
a
so I'm
hard
gonna
time
go
remembering right now.
Cal Raleigh. I'll go Cal
Yeah.
Raleigh.
Yeah, but definitely worth shouting out Alejandro Kirk. I think he'll find his spot on the roster as a backup, but we're just not talking about those necessarily. First base for me, Ben. Like I said, this was a hard one to decide because you can look around at first base and see guys like Paul Goldschmidt having solid seasons. You can see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. A little down of the year by his standards, but still, you know, across the playing
Yeah.
field, one of the better first basemen in the American League. But I decided to settle in on Jonathan Aranda over from the Rays.
Dadgummit.
It's a guy that's hitting 324.
An
It's
unknown guy too, which is
a more
nice.
unknown guy. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people, like even baseball fans like you and me, would be like, Jonathan Aranda? Who's that? What team does he play for? But for you guys that may be hearing that name for the first time, first baseman for the Tampa Bay Rays, like I said, he's hitting 324 right now. He's got 7 home runs and 31 RBIs. So not,
916 on OPS. Jeez.
yeah, 916 OPS is really worth mentioning there
Especially
too.
for a crappy team.
Yeah. Yeah. So that OPS among first basemen, it's best in the American League, third amongst all first basemen, and he's also second in WAR in all the league, first in the American League at 2.3. So to me, I was just like, yeah, I got to go with Aranda here.
Yeah.
I'm sure that maybe a guy like Vlad or Goldschmidt with the name recognition will probably get the nod, but we'll see if the rest of I guess voters and everybody that determines the starting lineup sees what I'm seeing with Aranda, and will give him the nod because I think he's earning it right now.
I was really tempted to go Goldschmidt here. I think like the resurgence we're seeing in Goldschmidt. I mean, this dude kind of faded away. What for the last 4 years? He's kind of faded into our back of our minds, right? I remember in the mid 2010s when it was like him and Joey Votto, right? They were the two first basemen in the National League that were going at it every year. Who's going to be the All-Star? Who's going to be the leading candidate to make the team, right? Um, but I had to go Jonathan Aranda because I'm like the dude's got a 916 OPS. He's hitting 324. Like I know it's in a ballpark that's maybe a little bit easier to hit in just because it's more of like a spring training ballpark. But dude, I don't care who you are, man. Like that's crazy for a guy that kind of went from unknown to doing this. If he keeps it up, now again we have a month to get left until the All Star game, but he's already hitting 324. I think he's gonna be all right.
Yeah, for sure. So going to second base, yeah, this was another hard one for me because there's really not a guy that stands out in the American League. Like all the best second basemen seem to be over in the National League, and we'll talk about that more when we get to their team. But for me, it's like, okay, I guess the guys that are slightly separating themselves from the pack in the American League are Gleyber Torres and Jackson Holliday. And you could probably coin flip that because you run through the numbers looking at stuff like their OPS, their slug percentage, the batting average, the hits, all of that, pretty neck and neck. Uh,
Hmm.
I just decided to go with Gleyber Torres, having a some resurgence, been a really good signing for the Tigers. Also, as far
Never
as
lived up really to the hype that he once had.
yeah. Yeah, when he came over from the Cubs, that was supposed to be a big time second baseman for him, and I think he's finally like coming into what we thought he could be. But yeah, kind of a coin flip. I could see it maybe going either way there, but decided to go with Gleyber Torres.
Oh, I'm going Jackson Holiday. I just think that it's two neck and neck for me, and like the name, like just think about like his dad and like how Jackson Holiday struggled so much last year. And you remember like when he was like
He
one
was
for his
striking
like
out a
was like
ton when he
one for
came up.
42 at one point. Just to see that kind of like he learned how to hit, he's learning how to do things right. He hit a leadoff home run the other day. I just think Jackson Holiday kind of is finally kind of getting to his own. Like he's never going to be a guy I think that hits 330. I think he's a guy that's going to hit about 270 to 280. He's going to get on base. He's going to do the little things, be a good defender. So yeah, I'm going to go Jackson Holiday. I think the name just gives you that little extra pop.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Name recognition can help you in the All-Star votes. Now, shortstop. Uh, like I said, this was an easy one for me, but you got Bobby Witt in here, and it's like, yeah, he's still doing, good by league standards. Not really anywhere near the pace that he was on last year,
Oh
but
no.
this is a guy that we talked about in our 23U team not too
Oh
long ago. Like,
yeah.
it
This
was
guy put him on his
yeah,
team.
you found a way to get him on there. I still think Gunnar Henderson might have the better career, but right now the better season is Jacob Wilson. Right now, as it stands, third in all of baseball in batting average at 355. He's also got an 898 OPS, 16th. Uh,
He's got some
and then even
pop too.
comparing, yeah, like even comparing to Bobby Witt, I'll go ahead and tell you the numbers there. Bobby Witt's got 7 home runs. Well, guess what? So is Jacob Wilson. Bobby Witt's got a couple more RBIs, a couple more total bases. Jacob's got him beat on doubles by just a couple, but yeah, I was just like, I gotta get Jacob
You gotta
Wilson in
have
here. The two,
redemption for your terrible
yeah,
choice last time.
yeah. As far as WAR goes, though, I'll go ahead and let everybody know that Jeremy Pena is leading
Dude, but he's a
American League
good defender
shortstops.
though, dude. He's a
Yeah,
freaking good defender.
yeah, he's a good defender. He also has a like a 847 OPS, so like coming around on the bat for Jeremy Pena and a 308 batting average. But yeah, Bobby Witt's Bobby Witt. We don't have to really say much about him. And then
He'll make
Zach
the team.
Neto's,
We all know he'll make the
yeah,
team. So,
yeah, he'll be there. Zach
uh,
Neto's also, I guess, got some. He's breaking out over at shortstop with the Angels too. But for me, I was just like, yeah, Jacob Wilson,
oh yeah, Jacob
get the
Wilson
rookie
for
there.
me. Like I can't stand behind him at DH for me, and then not decide to put him in. So I'm going to put him in. I think Jacob Wilson is just the guy that fits for this role.
So now third baseman here.
Yeah.
This one was neck and neck, it seemed like mostly with Alex Bregman and Jose Ramirez. And when you line it up, it's like OPS, Alex Bregman, 938, Jose Ramirez, 939. They're both slugging 553. Uh, as far as home runs go, they both got 11. Bregman's got 35 RBIs, Jose's got 29. Uh, but Jose has struck out significantly less. He's got 15 more stolen bases, and the batting average leans Jose to at 330. Breggs is hitting just under 300 at 299.
And I'm
So
just telling you, see a guy in this too is Miguel Garcia. I'm just telling you, he's got an OPS about 850, 313 batting average. I'm just saying. Like, that's another guy to keep an eye out for this.
for sure. But as far as the starter goes, I think it's either Bregman or Ramirez, and I think well, not think, I know that I'm going with Jose on this, and you guys can say that that's because I'm a Cleveland fan,
I
but
mean, it's just
it's very
obvious.
it's very close, but like I said, the batting average, the stolen bases, and the strikeout rate like seem to separate Jose from me a little bit more. So I'm going with him at this
No,
spot.
I would go Jose Ramirez too. Like I was thinking about Miguel Garcia because like at one point he was hitting like 335, like he was just raking. But I think Jose Ramirez is going to keep that steady, whereas Miguel Garcia I think is going to drop a lot. So I just think Jose Ramirez fits here.
For sure. Just keeps doing what he's doing every single year.
Always.
Uh, so that's like our infield. We can go to the outfield now, and I'll let you go ahead and lead
Yeah,
off
let's do
with
this.
who you got.
Yeah, left field. Left field is a this one was a doozy. I came down to a couple guys, right? So I was thinking Jaron Duran was a guy I had opportunity to think about. Riley Green, who is having a really underrated year, I think. Um, it's funny because when you look at the stats of left fielders, Gavin Lux for the Reds, I know we're not looking at National League as a left fielder, but he's played like every position, which I just think is hilarious that they put him in left field.
Yeah.
Um, Stephen Kwan is a guy who I just look. The thing with me though is hard with Stephen Kwan is that like he has no pop really, so it's like, do you want your All-Star starter to be a guy that's got like five bombs and you know what I mean? Like it's always hard unless it's Ichiro. I just feel like it's always hard. Um, so for me, I was trying to figure out where do I go, and so I really leaned. You know, I even looked at Jose Altuve, which by the way, it's
Mhm.
weird to say that he's a left fielder, but he's a left
It
fielder.
is.
He has a 17-17, sorry, 717 OPS, 9 home runs, but the average is down a lot. I decided I'm going to go with Riley Green. I think Riley Green, he has an 831 OPS. He's in 276. He's got 13 bombs, 40 RBIs. Again, not flashy numbers necessarily, but consistent numbers. And I think he's going to be the guy that I think I would put in this before I would put Stephen Kwan. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. There's an argument to be made there. I rolled with Quan, leading all American League left fielder in WAR at 2.5. Like you said, the pop isn't necessarily there, but still somehow has a 800 OPS. Uh, the 308 batting average is nice, but yeah, there's some guys here you can definitely make the case for. Like you said, Jaron Duran I think is like top five in the league in hits, and then Riley Green's also having a really good season. Wouldn't shock me if he ends up taking this place, but yeah, I got Quan there.
Yeah, and then center field's interesting. Also, if you look at overall center fielders, TJ Friedel for the Reds is leading all center fielders in average, which is funny.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of guys that could have went here. I was jokingly going to choose Byron Buxton just because like that dude's always injured, and I feel like if I would choose him, he'll get injured tomorrow. Like it's just I feel like that's what
Mhm.
would happen to me. Um, Center field was hard for me because there's no one like raking in the AL. Like there's no one like up there just
Yeah, it's a
like
it's a tough one.
it's a tough one. But a couple of guys I was thinking of was Rafaela. I think that's how you say his last name. Rafaela. I mean, but he's only has a 707 OPS. I feel like that's a big number to look at. Julio Rodriguez is just having not. He's having an okay year. Like he's hitting 244, which I don't think the power numbers are there for me right now. So I decided, you know what? I go Byron Buxton. I know I joked about not having him, but I like it was more of a joke in my head. And then I started looking through every American League center fielder and going, Byron Buxton might be the only one that consistently plays in
Mhm.
center field that actually has decent numbers. So I'm going to go Byron Buxton. He's a threat on the bases, can hit the ball. And that's where I'm going to lead today.
Yeah, that was a it was a tough one for me, but it was like, am I gonna go Julio Rodriguez, Byron Buxton, or Trent Grisham over here? Because they're like kind of close together in some stats.
Just
Some of them
terrible
lead
names,
in
by the way.
others.
Just like no name guys in some sense.
I rolled with Grisham though.
Interesting.
Yeah, reason for that.
He has a
Out of those
resurgence.
guys,
He has a
out of those
resurgence.
guys that I named, yeah, out of those guys I named, he has the best OPS out of all of them. The most home runs out of all of them. The batting average is lower than what some of those guys have. The WAR, they're all three like really close together in that, but I decided to go with Grisham. The power numbers, I think, is what did it for me.
Yeah. Um, yeah,
Buxton's a
that's
good pick though too.
yeah. I mean Buxton either I think either way you can have a solid pick. Right field, I mean, can we just both say it? I mean, it's not even it's Aaron
Next
Judge.
question.
Yeah, next question. I mean, he's hitting almost 400 guys. So we're gonna just stop it there. Like I don't even have to say his numbers because they're just freaking ridiculous.
Yeah,
Um,
there's not a whole lot that we can add to Judge. I
no,
mean, his 757 slug is what most guys wish
I
their
did read an
OPS
article.
is.
I did read an article that said that on away games he can't actually go out into the public because he sticks out like a sore thumb and everyone wants to get pictures. Um,
Doesn't surprise me, man.
yeah. And then for DH, this is where I thought I was going to have a little fun because I was looking at, Devers, who started out crappy. I mean, we remember he was like 0 for 15
Oh,
with 15
terrible. Yeah.
Ks. He's now got 285 average, 12 home runs. He's got 54 RBIs, a 914 OPS. So he's really raking. You also have Brent Rooker, who's also having a good year. Not as good a year as last year, I feel like, maybe a little less than what he did last year, but still on pace. But then I kind of went with the kind of the not the big name guy, but a guy that's had a really solid year, and that is I have Ryan O'Hearn, who is hitting 335. He's got 9 home runs. He's got 23 RBIs. He has a 961 OPS. To me, he kind of fits that. I could go Devers as well, like either one, but I'm gonna go O'Hearn just with the average. I think gives me that little extra bump. I think with the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, Hearn's got a case. I did end up going with Devers. I think that the resurgence there has just been incredible, and he's really settling into that DH spot now and looking like the Rafael Devers that we've always seen.
Mhm.
I can't remember off the top of my head if they go with like true DHs, like that's your position that you've been the most at, or if there's like flexibility to put like another
Yeah,
really good first baseman there or whatnot. But yeah, I did go Devers there. That's a pretty good one too to go with.
yeah. And then now we have pitcher, and for me. Pitcher's one of those things where you kind of have to figure out where you go, like what do you want in the pitcher, like what numbers are you looking at,
Yeah.
um where do you go from there. And so this is hard because I'll just read you in the American League. Bubic has a 143 ERA, Evaldi has a 156 ERA, Hunter Brown has a 183 ERA, Max Fried has a 192, Crochet has a 198, Maley has 202, Drew Rasmussen has 214, Skubal has 226, and DeGrom has
Hmm.
234. That's in the top 11. That's like 10 American League pitchers. You know how hard it is to figure out one starter.
Yep.
But I went
Very
with,
freaking hard.
but honestly, I went with Bubic because I'm sorry, a 143 ERA through 12 starts. Are you insane? I mean, Abbott, to give credit for the Reds, Abbott went through 8 starts at 151 and then just gave up 5 earned, right? The fact this guy
Hmm.
keeps going, I wanted to go Scooble, but I just couldn't get I kept staring at that ERA number. I'm just like, that's so wild to me. And the fact that he's 13, like the fact that 2 and 3 and 4 are all under 190, and yet they don't even get close to that. So for me, it's Chris Bubic will be the starter for the American League.
Yeah. Yeah, American League starters are definitely hard. You threw out a lot of names right there that all got cases, and I mean, you guys can fight me on this one, but I did go with Scooble, and you can be like, well, where's like the numbers at? Because like you said, the ERA, I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah.
It's in the 220s, but there's a lot of guys that have a lower one, like Bubic. Um, the wins, I think he's only got 5 wins, and Carlos Rodon leads the American League in 8, so he's not up there in
Hmm.
that category either. But this is what gets it for to me for Skubal, and why I want to see him going against like the top of the National League batting order in this game is because just the power there. K9, uh, first in the American League at 11.8 strikeouts per 9 innings. Walks and hits per inning pitch too. He leads all of baseball in that at .79, 7.79 whip right there. Uh, and then is just like we've been seeing recently. He had the Maddox that he tossed not too long ago. Uh,
Hmm.
just a really fun pitcher to watch. So that's kind of like how I'm picking it. Like, yes, there's guys that you could put that have better numbers, but I just think that in the All-Star game, watching Scooble go against who I'm guessing is going to be like Shohei Ohtani and uh, kicking it off, that's going to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to see these at bats.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very interesting point you have up, and I think that's gonna be you'll be seeing that National League with me as well. It's a little bit interesting. Um, so yeah, the National League. I'll do from catcher through
Yeah, you lead
shortstop,
off the
and then you
infield
can
there.
finish it up. So for me, catcher, there's only actually 5 catchers eligible for any stats really in the National League, which I thought was very fascinating. I think this year there's a lot. I believe I read a stat that's like most teams are doing a lot of platoons to the point where the catchers don't have enough stats because they're doing so many like switching days with certain pitchers.
Yeah, like if they are hitting like over
Especially
300, for
well,
example, it doesn't even
especially if
qualify.
yes, especially because some of like for the Reds instance, they have a like they have 2 catchers on they have Stevenson, they have Trevino, and they like catch like 2 and 2. Like so it's they don't have enough at bats. So, but anyways, out of the guys, it's pretty easy for me. It's Will Smith. I mean, Will Smith has been the best, one of the best catchers in the National League for years now. It's sad to see Real Muto just kind of like slowly shrinking down to not much of a hitter, but Will Smith is defensively a stud and offensively can just has power. And so for me, I'm going to go Will Smith as my starter.
Yep, I got Will Smith there too, far and away leading the way in all the offensive metrics. The 920 OPS is first in the National League, only second to Kyle Raleigh in all of baseball. The 2.3 WAR, again, only behind Kyle Raleigh in all of baseball in that category. The batting average at 323 leads all of baseball there. Yeah, just doing it year in and year out over there in LA. Will Smith, yeah, it's not even close. Most years, I think William Contreras would be in this discussion, but just the bat hasn't been there for him this year.
No. And then for
697 OPS is just not like him at all.
No, and then first base, pretty easy for me. It's Freddie Freeman. I was thinking about maybe do I do Josh Naylor? Do I do Pete Alonso? And I'm just like, Ben, you're stupid. Dude,
Hmm.
Freddie Freeman's hitting 370 with an OPS of over 1,000. He's got 10 bombs, 40 RBIs. And look, it's also weird to see Luis arise as a first baseman. He was a second baseman for so many years, and then a 5 foot
Yeah.
9.5 first baseman, by the way, is just odd to see. Dude's barely 5'10. He might be 5'10. That's just a little weird. But I guess you need his bat. I mean, he defensively he's not a great defender, but when he only strikes out like once every like 80 games, this is the way it works. He's which is funny that he's playing for San Diego because it's basically like the new Tony Gwynn. But Freddie Freeman for me at first base.
Yep, I rolled with Freddie too. I did look at Pete Alonso and Josh Naylor, but at the end of the day, Freddie Freeman leads all first basemen in WAR, leads all first basemen in OPS.
People forget how
Third
good
in
of a
the
defender he is, by the way. People forget about that.
Yeah,
Freddie
yeah, he
Freeman's a
plays a really good
good,
first base
yeah.
out there too. And he's got some pop to his bat too. He's third in the National League at first baseman for RBIs as well, at 40. So he's driving in runs too.
Yeah, and then I go to second baseman, which this one was hard. There was a couple guys I was thinking of. You have Nico Horner, you have Brendan Donovan. Nico Horner does not have a home run, by the way, and 220 at bats, which I thought was fascinating.
Hmm.
You have Nico Horner, you have Bryce Terang. It's kind of crazy to see Ozzy Albies as one of the worst averages. He's in about 235. Also, the
Hmm.
fact that Matt McClain is still in the big leagues for the Reds at 175 is just like the dude missed all last year. Send him to the minors, please. Sorry,
Hmm.
PSA announcement. But I went with Brendan Donovan. He's hitting 321, four homers, 24 RBIs, 846 OPS. He's not a flashy guy, but I think he gives you, if you're looking at an all-star starter, it's a guy who's consistent, and he's been consistent from the beginning of the year for a team that's been kind of so-so at times. So for me, it's Brendan Donovan.
I rolled with Donovan too. Leads all second basemen in OPS, leads all second basemen in hits, I believe. Let me double check that. Yep. Uh, and then yeah, the WAR is just behind Trang and Nico Horner. Those are some of the other guys that, like you said, would be in this race. Would have thought Ketel Marte would be in this discussion, but just again having a decent season, just not like top notch. So yeah, I rolled with Donovan too. Plays a really good glove at second base too.
Then shortstop was an interesting one for me. It is funny though that the Marlins got rid of Luis Urias to the Padres, and now they have a new guy in Xavier Edwards who is about the exact same hitter. He just hits for average, and that's all he does. But that's an interesting one. But a few other guys, you had C.J. Abrams, you have Mookie Betts, Mookie Betts is having a weird year, by the way. He's only hitting 257. Like he's just not definitely not a starter for sure. Trey Turner. Again, 305, 815 OPS. His his power's down a little bit, I think. And then Lindor, he's got 14 home runs, by the way. This is like old Lindor, man. This is like Lindor from Cleveland days with an 854 OPS. And then you have my man Ellie, who's in 257, 12 homers, 43 RBIs, 19 stolen bases, 790 OPS. Look, this is for my own sanity, Josh. Josh, I need something to hold on to hope. Josh, for the fact that the Reds are about almost 10 games back of first place and 4.5, maybe 5 games out of the wild card. I have to go Ellie De La Cruz here. You have to understand, Josh. This is like it's not a big enough gap for me to go someone's truly dominating and also Ellie's just a freak. And just I need to hold on to that hope, Josh. That's all. I can stop now. It's the only reason, Josh.
I had a feeling, but knowing me, I would love to see Ellie De La Cruz on this All-Star roster just
Which
because
I
he is
do
the
think
human
he'll make
highlight
it though,
reel.
because everyone needs a player. I think
Everyone gets a player, I
he will
think,
be the
and
guy.
he would be the guy from the Reds, I think. Maybe they could get Pagan in there because he's been one of the better closers in terms of saves. But Francisco Lindor is leading National League shortstops in WAR. He's leading National League shortstops in OPS. He's leading all shortstops in home runs, just a couple more than Ellie, actually. And third in all National League shortstop in runs driven in. So to me, I'm going Frankie Lindor here, and we know how good of a glove he has over there at short too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Third base for me was pretty easy. I went with Manny Machado. I think Manny Machado is just having a great year, OPS wise, average wise. It's funny that Eugenio Suarez is in there. I mean, the dude's hit 16 bombs, but as most people know, Suarez can't hit for average to save his life.
Hmm.
Nolan Arenado is only hitting 227, which is a very shocking stat to me. But Manny
Yeah,
Machado is he's raking, man, and it's kind of like, dude, people forget Manny Machado is not young anymore. He's 32, which by the way, he's been playing for so long. It's
he's
crazy to
been
think
playing
that
for so long. Yeah, he came up in the league what when he was like 20 or
19, I
something
think
like
19 or
that,
20.
19 or
Yeah,
20. Yeah, very young phenom, and yeah, you
he's gonna be the next
think of
guy to
a guy
get
like Machado who's
2,000
been.
hits for sure, maybe 3,000.
Yeah, he should reach 2,000 career hits this year. He's got 1,969 right now. Made his debut in
Dude,
2012, so that's
he's going.
what,
He'll probably play for another
13
6 to 7 years, which means he can probably get to 3,000.
That is tough. Because what would you have to average? 200 over the next 5 years. We haven't seen Manny Machado ever get 200 hits in a
True.
season.
But he might get close. He might get to 2,500, I think, for sure.
The last few full seasons, he's done 163, 140, 172, 157.
Yeah.
So he might have to play closer till he's 40 to get there. But yeah, the early start definitely helps there. And yeah, I got Manny Machado over here too for basically all the reasons you said. There's some guys that you could look at in the National League and be like, hey, uh, Austin Riley's a guy that has been a staple over at third base in the National League. Arenado, yeah, like you said, just not not the same that we're used to seeing from him. Alec Boehm was a guy that was in this position last year, but just ain't doing what he was doing last year either. So yeah, I'm going with Machado right here at third. I think that's Suarez though. You see the power numbers and you're kind of salivating a little bit, but
I
I'll
am.
take Manny.
Yeah, I'll take Manny. All right. You can go off outfield to start.
Okay,
And you're definitely going Gavin Lux here. I can feel it. I can feel it.
you know
He is raking, by the way. He just hasn't hit any home runs,
he
but he's
is. I
raking.
I love Gavin Lux. I love that trade when they made it, and I think that it has been one of the better moves that they've made. There's a very good chance, Ben, that we are going to see an all Chicago Cubs outfield. I just know the way that the fans are over there. They've been wild back when they
Yeah.
were, coming off the World Series in 2016 and 2017. Those guys made the bulk of the starters. I think they one time had seven of the starters. It's like, this is absolutely ridiculous. But that's Chicago Cubs fans. They love their team. However, it's not going to be an all Chicago Cubs outfield for me because James Wood does exist out
He's
there in left field.
ripping, man. He is ripping the
He
ball.
is, like we said a few weeks ago, he's not just one of
And
the
he's six foot
best
seven, by the way.
23 and
Jeez.
under players in the league. He's one of the best left fielders in the league right now. Scrolling through, he leads all left fielders in WAR right now at 2.8. He is second in OPS at 952, just behind Kyle Schwarber. The dude has 16 home runs. That is just behind Schwarber in the National League for home runs. Uh, Second in the National League in RBIs, just behind Suzuki, who's another guy that would be in that mix for that left field spot. But going with James Wood right here, and then on top of it, the 286 batting average, so the guy hits and gets on base.
Behind Gavin Lux. Just saying. Yeah, I'm going with James Wood as well. I mean, that dude's 6'7", hit tanks. He's basically the left-handed version of Aaron Judge right now, but not as good. But what I'm saying is just the power he has. Which can you imagine him playing in New York with that short porch to right? Can you imagine him playing for the Yankees? Oh my word, he would hit balls on the triple deck. Do you think that could be a possible destination for him? By the way, is New York? I think New York would be a perfect fit for him. Left field, hitting that short porch.
For, sorry, who again?
James Wood.
James Wood in New York.
I think it'd fit.
I mean, since this is the Washington Nationals, he's probably eventually going to become a New York Yankee,
That's
right? Like, what
true.
are the odds that
That's
he signs an extension over there? They couldn't keep Bryce Harper over there. They couldn't keep Trey Turner over there. They couldn't keep uh, Juan Soto over there. So maybe it won't necessarily be New York, but James Wood is he's going to be playing ball somewhere else, unfortunately. It sucks because the Nationals got all these great young guys, and it'd be great if guys like him and Abrams like stayed and built a team, but
yeah.
they just don't seem to be big spenders or interested in that.
I think I know where you're gonna go for center fielder. TJ
Where am I
Friedel.
going for center field?
TJ Friedel. 100%.
Frito.
Hey, he
Yeah, that
does
would be
lead he does lead in a couple categories for center fielders, just saying.
that is crazy that he leads that because Pete Crow Armstrong exists and leads all center fielders in RBIs right now, leads all center fielders in home runs right now, leads all center fielders in WAR right now, and leads all center fielders in OPS right now. Oh, and also is tied for first amongst all center fielders in stolen bases.
And who's leading in average?
Leading average right now is not Pete Crow Armstrong. It is Mr. Friedel.
Aha.
But
Aha.
Pete is fourth among center fielders, all center fielders, in batting average too.
And who leads
And
all
he's probably playing the best defensive glove
did you see the
in
catch from TJ
center
Friedel
field
last
too.
night, by the way?
I saw it. Yeah.
Dude, that was epic to end the game. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
And in the
saying.
game, robbing a home run, right?
So you can guess where I'm going with this. Um, Jung Ho Lee. I'm just kidding. Jung Ho Lee, by the way, is another guy to keep an eye on. And Jackson Churio, Andy Pajes is having a good year. I think Andy Pajes is having an underrated year. But for me, it's obvious. Also, O'Neal Cruz is hitting. He's basically the outfield version of De La Cruz right now, by the way. But TJ Friedel, as much as I love him, I think he's the other guy. If they don't go with Lux or if they don't go with De La Cruz, he's the other guy. If he keeps this average up, he could be the guy that slips in for the Reds. But I'm gonna go Pete Crow Armstrong. I mean, the dude's a freak. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I was just
Yeah,
pulling your leg.
I figured. And then right field. like I said, this could be realistically an all Chicago Cubs outfield, depending on how the fans vote, and that's because Kyle Tucker is also having a sixth season out in right field too. That's been one of the better trades that have panned out this offseason. Kyle Tucker right now for right field is hit in the National League is second in batting average.
Juan
He
Soto's definitely
is
not first. Juan Soto's the worst in qualified right fielders in batting
yeah,
average.
not been good. Uh,
I swear, if
Tu
he makes the All-Star game, dude, I'm gonna be so mad if that's the guy that like.
well, right now I don't even know if Mets fans really are happy with him. They've been pretty upset. We've seen them at least on social media. I know it doesn't represent all the Mets fan base, but I think that they are not happy with what they've
No, I
gotten
don't
so
think so
far out of
either.
their money. But Kyle Tucker, third in National League right fielders in WAR. He is first in National League right fielders in OPS. He is
You know who leads in
uh,
right fielders in home runs, don't you?
right fielders in home runs.
Corbin Carroll with
Yeah,
18.
I was gonna say Corbin Carroll would probably Corbin Carroll or Fernando
His average
Tatis
is
is gonna
bad
be who's
though.
in the mix.
His average is
Yeah, him and
rough.
Tatis are both hitting in the 260s. So I know batting average isn't something that people really care about right now. They're gonna be looking at the OPS, which I think Carroll's just a couple points behind Tucker there. Tatis is about 100 points behind there. And then you look at, like I was saying, WAR, and Tatis and Carroll do have a better WAR. But those are the right fielders, I think, in the discussion, and I'm going with Tucker.
Yeah, I'm going with Tucker as well. I don't think it's close. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
All right, so DH, again, this is one of those where we're talking American League right field, and it's like we don't have to say much because this is,
Seiya Suzuki, by the way, is listed as a DH because I think that's what he does the most for the Cubs. He's another sneaky guy that I think might get some votes, at least as a backup. I'm just saying that now.
maybe some votes, but
But we all know who it is.
we all know who this will be.
This is Shohei Ohtani. It's showtime.
This is Shohei Ohtani's spot. Tied for the league lead in home runs with Kyle Raleigh
He
right
would
now.
lead in RBIs if he didn't hit lead off. He would lead in RBIs.
Yeah, yeah,
Dude's got
that's always what's
39.
gonna
Dude,
hold.
he's
Yeah,
having an Alfonso Soriano season. You remember when Alfonso Soriano hit 45 home runs and had like 90 RBIs? Do you remember that? He had
yes, I
like
do.
45 bombs and because he hit lead off. This is basically
Yeah,
what Shohei's going to do. He's going to hit like
23 home runs and 39
that's
RBIs.
crazy.
Yeah, so the RBIs is tied for 19th. So yeah, I imagine that would be like if him and Freddie switch spots,
Oh my
like
goodness.
yeah. So third in all the league in OPS too for Shohei. He's also been on the mound lately, been getting some warm up.
He has.
So we'll see if there's any point this year that he ends up pitching again. But
We'll
that's
see.
all the hitters. And then as far as pitchers go, tricky one. Uh,
Oh, it's
and this
easy for
is
me. This is easy for me.
all right. Well, I'll
Easy.
let you say yours first then.
Paul Skeens. Not even close. I'm like just what Paul Skeens have been doing. Like I even look back to last year. Like then his if he did a whole season, you put his whole season stats. He's the best pitcher right now in baseball. The only other guy I would think about was Kodai Senga. I mean, he's the only one that kind of crossed my mind. But I just think what Paul Skeens is doing, man. Like, dude, in only 80, like I know he's 4-6, but like one, he plays for a crappy team, but also like dude struck out like the dude's just he's just filthy, man. And I look at like what is going to draw as a starter for an All-Star game. It's for me Paul Skeens, but that's just my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Yamamoto's been fun to watch this year. Zach Wheeler's been fun to watch this year, but Mackenzie Core's also been fun raking in the strikeouts. But I did go Paul Skeens, and numbers would back that up too.
Yeah,
Leads all the National League pitchers in WHIP, leads all the National League pitchers in WAR. As far as strikeouts, he is, let's see, that's strikeouts. He's eighth with 85 there. And since he's with Pittsburgh, he has a 4-6 record, which is embarrassing. The 205 ERA is eighth. So yeah, Paul Skeens does have some numbers to back that up. But like I said, there's some other guys that are fun to watch
just
here too.
imagine
But
the
I did go
starter
with
of the
Skeens.
All-Star game is like 5-10 with a 2.03 ERA. Just what it's just be so funny.
I would have guessed that would be Jacob DeGrom if
Yeah,
there was ever a
true.
5-10 starter.
That's true. True. But
But
anyways, I think that's.
there you have it.
Let us know down below. What do you think of the All Star teams? Let us know who we should remove, who we should add. We won't, but you can at least say it. And then give us who maybe some guys that maybe are some of your bench guys that might come on the bench and so on. But obviously, we'll talk about those teams once they get announced. All-Star voting started today, I believe. So go out there and vote. Get your guys in there. I'm going to vote for the Reds, even though none of them deserve it. Literally none of them. Even the Bat Boys don't deserve it. Yes, I went there. So yeah, we
Bat boys are bearing some of the responsibility
yeah, it's
too.
ridiculous. It's absolutely atrocious. You know what's going to be great though is when they play the Dodgers in July. When I like hopefully when I can see them live, it'd be great because you know why? Because there'll be no one there, and I can get hopefully a home run ball because I'll be in left field. But anyways, I hope you all had a phenomenal time listening to us. Let us know your comments down below. If you love this video, love watching this video, click that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And if you've loved listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that fun stuff in the car, then yeah, share it with your friends and family. That'd be much appreciated. So I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Stay cool out there. Also enjoy some time with family. I know we celebrate Pentecost here, so we have a long 3-day weekend, which I'm so excited for on my birthday weekend. I love it. So anyways, hope you guys have a great weekend. Until next time, we'll see ya.